Hey, so I noticed people really liked my last reaction video of me reacting to my transformed video, so today I'm thinking of doing something a little bit different and reacting to the BBC Archive Goth special. I've never done anything quite like this before, so I guess we'll see how it goes. I'll give whatever input I can as a modern day goth here in 2023. This segment originally aired on BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Corporation, in 1983. So let's get into it.
Most people would agree that Gina looks like a nice girl.
She's gorgeous.
But she's about to change all that.
When I first started getting into anti-fashion or alternative fashion, my reasons were to judge the way people reacted to me, and by that way see if I was interested in knowing them.
It's very interesting to see someone seal synthetic dreads with a candle. We really don't do this anymore. Most people will do it with a clothing steamer or like a straightening iron, a flat iron, whatever you want to call it. Very interesting to see how these things have evolved. I also love the term anti-fashion. Maybe I should start using that.
It was a very good way to find that you only meet tolerant people straight away. Anyone who's totally intolerant is just not going to be interested in talking to you.
That's kind of true. Especially if you're like an LGBT or if you're neurodivergent. People are a lot more understanding if they're alternative in general, but not necessarily.
And also, as a girl going to nightclubs and dealing with men, it certainly screened out any man that seemed to be just interested to me as a sexual figure. He had to also be interested in me as a person because I didn't look just like a pretty girl.
I feel like in general, being an alternative person, you are showing a lot more of yourself, who you are in the inside on the outside, so I guess that does make sense in some regard. I think for the most part that a lot of alternative people are also looking for other alternative people as well. Like, you want lifestyles that will align together, so it just kind of is a more visual way of weeding people out, maybe?
And red as well. But I think we should go stronger.
With extreme styles. You might realize someone is trying to make a statement, but it's not fair of you to judge what that statement is without asking them.
That is a very good point. It's fair to say that not everyone's making a statement, though. Some people are just friggin' weird.
These people are worried about how they might be judged by the way they look. That's why they've come to the London Academy of Modelling. They're here to learn how to dress for job interviews, a real problem now that jobs are scarce.
But I want you to start thinking now about the first impression you get from people when you first see them.
If I rolled up to a job interview wearing just exactly what I'd like to wear, there's no way I'd ever get a job, simple as that.
While that is still true, like however many years later, what is that? 40 years? I can't do math. However many years later, it's still partially true depending on the job that you're trying to get. Example, if you're going to apply for a job in an alternative store, you would kind of want to dress a little bit more alternative, but on the corporate side of alternative, if you're going in for an interview. That's what I did. That's how I started working at an alternative store.
It can be quite a tricky business dressing for other people, especially if you're trying to please someone who's a lot older than you are.
That has changed a little bit. The boomers are a little bit more tolerant than we give them credit for. They're definitely a lot more tolerant than the generation before them. Let's just say that.
Earrings on girls. She looks very nice wearing her two different earrings with her casual look. But as she said, she wouldn't wear that for an interview. And I wouldn't wear two different earrings, one big one, one small one, or just one earring. It could put an awful lot of employers off.
That is very funny. I can't even imagine looking at somebody and being like, you're wearing 2 different earrings. I'm professional. You won't know how to talk to the public. Naughty, naughty. Very bizarre.
Grey, yeah. I would tend to agree in this instant to wear grey socks.
Grey socks! As if you're being picky to the point of your employer looking at the color of your socks. Imagine being like, the color of your socks decides whether or not you're a good employee. That is absolutely ridiculous. I wonder if people still do that. I highly doubt it. How are you gonna see someone's socks?
That will probably, because they're quite thick, those white ones, aren't they? Yeah, I would say thinner socks and grey. Socks are very, very important for guys.
Socks are very important for guys. And you would know too, ma'am, wouldn't you?
Most recently I've been for mostly office jobs, you know, like postal clerks, things like that. But you've got to make, you know, the right impression. If you went along without a tie or without a shirt, you know, just a sweater or something, and everyone in the office was wearing a tie, then they obviously think you didn't fit. So if you look right for the job, you know, if you look the same as everybody else, the same sort of formal dress, then you've got more chance, I think.
While true, is it really worth it? Because at the end of the day, these employers need employees to function. So at some point, they're in no position to be picky.
I have had times when I've looked for a job that I purposely toned down not just my hair, but my whole style of dress. But once you get the job and prove you can work at it, then you should be given free rein within that. And if at that stage I'm told to stop dyeing my hair different colours or something, I'd rather leave. Because I'm just doing waitressing jobs. It's not my whole life, my work.
That is also a very good point. This is the kind of thing I have done in the past in order to get into a more normal job. You dressed really down for the interview and for your like probationary period, and then slowly over time you can bring out the weirdness. If somebody makes a comment or is like going to be discriminatory about it, I'm like, I don't need it. A part-time job, a like silly little job is not, it's not everything. It's barely even a phase in life. Especially saying that a lot of people who are alternative are more interested in creative jobs, which it really doesn't matter what you look like if you're doing a creative job. I have a feeling that being a creative person would give you the upper hand. But I don't think things worked quite like that in the 80s, not that I was alive.
It's much more important to me that I can look the way I want to.
At a disco like the Camden Palace, you can see every style, ranging from satin to sackcloth, from rubber to rasta. But you can't always tell what these people do for a living by the way they look.
I'm a civil servant.
Our little department, sort of known as the Thedeviance Corner, because no one's really what you'd expect an office worker to look like.
I feel like this is also very common, especially in the older generations of Goths. If you start talking to them, a lot of them work like really normal office jobs, look really normal in the day, and then by the time they go out or on their weekends or evenings or whatever, you would not even recognize them as the same person.
If people talk to me, they realise that I'm not what I seem. And also, once you smile at people, little old ladies will look at you and they'll think, oh God, she's going to beat me up. And then if you smile at them, they'll be really sweet and they'll come over and congratulate you and tell you look nice.
I get on really well with grannies. Yeah. It's one of my best people to talk to, grannies.
That's true. Grannies are very nice sometimes. Sometimes they're very rude and call you a demon. But a lot of the time, grannies are very like, they've seen everything. You're not the first alternative person they've seen. They just understand that it takes effort and time to do this kind of thing and are kind about it. Not everyone is that way though. It would be nice. Hopefully in the future.
They like me.
Because they think you're fierce at first, and then when you do go up and you smile at them, and they obviously realise that in that smile there's no malice, and you are quite pleasant really, and it's their illusion shattered.
That's also true. People will like assume you're mean or like sure that you're gonna beat somebody up. I assume some like stigma from like punks and skinheads is where that comes from. At least as far as Goths are concerned, I don't know any of them that are into violent behavior or anything like that. It's pretty normal for Goths and alternative people to be peacemakers. I think in any case where you're on the fringe of society, it makes it a little bit easier to understand why you should be a little bit more of a peacemaker than, I don't know, a destructive asshole. I also find the stereotype that, like, goths don't smile to be very strange. Sometimes people will make me laugh and I'll smile and they're like, oh my god, and I'm like, I'm actually hilarious. My favorite movie is a comedy, Top Secret with Val Kilmer. Watch it if you haven't. It's amazing. It's also from the 80s. Well, it's very interesting that on the BBC they would publish something like this because it feels a little not like something the BBC would do. But once again, I'm, for one, not British and wasn't alive in the 80s, so I don't really know what it was like.
In the illusory world of the disco, you can be a bank clerk by day and a buccaneer by night. But for someone like Steve Strange, dressing up isn't just fun, it's a career in itself.
The ideal career is dressing up, putting on costumes, and just, like, being. You wouldn't want anything else in life, would you? Maybe that's just me.
Where Steve leads, the kids follow, or enough of them to make it pay. He's accepted as a style leader, but he wanted to look unusual even before he was paid for it.
When I was like 13, 14, I used to have bright orange hair at school, and I was banned from school from having bright orange hair.
This still happens as well. You get kicked out of school for having the wrong color hair. It didn't happen to me, thankfully, but I know a lot of people who are in, like, Catholic or, like, uniformed schools, private schools, will not be allowed to dye their hair, which is very stupid.
And my mum turned around and said, well, what does bright orange hair have to do with his education?
Exactly. What does your hair color have to do with your education or who you are as a person? What does your makeup have to do? It doesn't matter.
It's not affecting it in any way. It was a rebellion. Because the kids at school, because I didn't get on with them. Well, they just thought I was some weirdo, but that was what it was all about. It was to say, well, here I am, you know. I am a weirdo, my hair's bright orange.
I feel like a lot of people also use, like, how they look as a precursor to, like, you need to prepare yourself. For me, for example, I have a very, very dark sense of humor. I'm a little bit awkward. Some would say strange. Depends on who you are. But I feel like it's a little bit easier to understand me once you look at me.
So I'm here.
For Steve Strange, the rebellion paid off. For the rest of us, looking unusual is a gamble that can cost you your job, get you banned from pubs, or at the very least, get you singled out as an oddity.
Is that still true of today? Can you get kicked out of pubs and stuff for being in the wrong dress code? If you have any opinions or any experiences, let me know.
I like it very much.
She looks gorgeous.
But then it's always really easy to like extreme cuts in the atmosphere of a extreme hair salon. I'm not quite so sure about it once I start walking down the street.
It looks fabulous. Oh, what a sweet couple.
Just seen one go up there. Sean right at the top. Absolutely awful.
That reminds me of some of the people who come into my work. I work retail right now, and yeah, I've definitely been told that I shouldn't work places just for having my hair a different color or having my side shaved. Very interesting. Not entirely sure how the two connect, but...
Well, I just think that it looks rubbish. It's the only answer for it.
The good thing about when people think you look rubbish is that nobody asked for your opinion. Ew. You didn't hear me saying it.
She's a very attractive girl. I mean, you know.
They're a very sweet couple.
It's terrible. It's absolutely.
Maybe you're absolutely terrible with that absolutely terrible attitude.
I'm a bit conservative, really, I'm afraid. But,
why?
Just always have been, you know.
Every conservative ever.
Sorry.
I'm very conservative. Why? Because I always have been.
I don't feel I'm part of the normal run-of-the-mill rat race. I don't want to be, put it like that, you know. I just feel superior to everyone, all the little sheep that are running around out there.
Superior is a strange word to be using for that. I don't know if superior is the right word. I would say that I just feel a little bit different. I don't know. I don't feel better than anybody else. Maybe better than at makeup than some people, that's about it. I really have to wonder where they found the people for this video, because they've chosen really like well-spoken and eloquent people to represent the subculture, so strange for the 80s. Anyway, the copy that I got off Facebook cuts off right there, so I don't know, if there's a second part or anyone can find more of these, please leave them as a comment or give me any other suggestions of videos you'd like me to react to, because I find this to be very fun. Thank you for watching, and I hope I can have more videos up soon. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble organizing my time and making sure that I have enough time for all of my things, including making videos. Making videos kind of falls to the back burner sometimes, so hopefully if I get more suggestions, I can make more videos and say hello more often. Anyway, I'll talk forever.